You're listening to the DC Comics Chronicles, where we cover every adventure from the streets of Gotham to the skies of Metropolis and into the depths of Atlantis. With your hosts, Adam and the Emerald Enthusiast.
Welcome to another episode of the DC Comics Chronicles. As always, I'm your host, Adam, and with me is my co-host, the Emerald Enthusiast himself, Donnie. Donnie, how's it going?
What's up, comic book fans? It's the man whose ring runs on fanboy energy. It is the Emerald Enthusiast, and we're here to take you back to the most chaotic town, the chaotic small town in the universe.
Yeah, and that small town being Smallville.
That's right.
Specifically for more episode reviews of Superman and Lois, not a retrospective of Smallville, though I'm not opposed to doing something like that. It's just I had to make the distinction because Smallville took place for at least, 5 or 6 seasons, all in Smallville, and now Superman and Lois is taking place in Smallville. So a distinction needs to be made.
But it doesn't seem to matter where, what the series is or what the comic series or the TV series or movies or whatever. Wherever Cal goes, drama follows.
Yeah, crazy stuff. Yeah, crazy stuff happens. But he's equipped to deal with it, given all his abilities. So he has abilities. What is it? Far beyond those of mortal men. Is that how the
far beyond those of mortal men?
That classic version of the saying goes.
Yeah.
Quick.
I actually have the Flasher cartoons too.
Those are great. We should look into doing those.
We should, yeah. Those old Flasher cartoons.
Those
awesome.
and the. Do you remember the one? I want to say it's the 80s, the Ruby's Spears. The ones that used the John Williams Superman theme at the beginning in the intro.
Oh, yes.
Those could be something too. We could go through. All the Superman animation. How about that?
Sure.
Except for the maybe not Crypto the Superdog, but everything else.
Yeah.
And again, nothing against Crypto. It's just that wasn't geared for me. Quickly, before we talk about the next batch of episodes, there is some movement. I don't know if that's even the right word. There's progress in regards to another Superman movie, it would seem. Mm-hmm. Because two things happened recently that are of note. A couple days before this recording, about a week ago, let's call it a week, noted entertainment journalist, he used to work for the big trades. Now he's got his own thing going. Mm-hmm. But Jeff Snyder, he's a very respected person in the Hollywood entertainment industry. So his scoops are quite reliable. It's not like We Got This Covered or Geekosity that are full of crap. That, they dwarf my toilet on a bad day in terms of the amount of crap they publish. But no, Jeff Snyder is very reliable. But
you mean the kind of websites that reported like how Jordan got killed by Red Lanterns in issue number 1 of Green Lantern?
Yeah, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Sorry, it only took me what today? 5 minutes to mention Green Lantern. Anyway,
yeah, hold on a second. 3 minutes and 40 seconds. You're way ahead of your time. And that's all considering we're going to record a Green Lantern podcast right after this. But anyway, he tweeted. He said that he's heard that Ta-Nehisi Coates, who is the writer of the Superman project in development that is being produced by J.J. Abrams. He is
very talented writer.
Yeah. Indeed. He is scheduled to turn in his script soon. There were no updates provided beyond turning in the script soon. So I don't know what soon means, but soon. So there's that. And then which is cool, which is good. That's good. It means the project is still going. An update on the project is always good because it means things are still in motion.
Yeah, any kind of progress is always a positive.
A couple days later, Variety published an article saying that because Warner Brothers was recently purchased by Warner Media was purchased by Discovery, and Variety is reporting that Discovery or Warner Brothers Discovery, the new entity, is considering somewhat of an overhaul of DC Entertainment. Now, a couple of things they specify, and I think this is important, is they specify that they are looking for a producer who is well equipped at handling big franchises, big IPs, to be like a czar of the business and sort of manage DC Entertainment so that all its divisions are more cohesive and there's a more cohesive brand association.
Okay.
It doesn't say. Now, the article equated, a Kevin Feige type, because Kevin Feige kind of oversees the comics too. Like the editor of Marvel Comics, reports to Feige. Like he checks in with Feige.
Yeah.
So the article didn't say whoever Warner Brothers hires is going to come in and take Walter Hamada's job. Quite the opposite. It said that Warner Brothers Discovery believes that Walter Hamada, since his time in 2018, has done a good job in keeping the budgets low, increasing critical reception of these films and series, and making profits. And they know that he has a contract to the end of 2023, but he could be influential beyond that in whatever David Zaslav, who is the new head honcho at Warner Brothers Discovery, has planned for DC Entertainment. So this is more of DC Entertainment as a whole, and more of a business, executive to kind of micromanage and make sure everything is, kind of. So like, let's say, what I assume from this article is that, so how DC has movies like Joker that are separate from the shared universe, and then you have something like Flash that is, connected with everything. So whoever this guy is going to come in is going to be like, the brand messaging is, okay, when we put, let's say they do a Scarecrow origin movie, and it's like the Joker, okay? So it's separate from everything. When we see promotion or information from that hypothetical film, the branding is going to be, this is an else world that's not connected to anything else.
Yes.
So fans are going to know, okay, what is this? Because for example, we're going to have two Batman running around, Pattinson and Keaton, and the general audience may be confused. I think people are overstating the confusion that the audience is going to feel. Personally, I don't think the audience is idiots. If the movie,
I think we've seen enough characters that have multiple versions now. The audience is not going to be confused.
But that's what this person is going to come in and do, sort of make sure the messaging is clear, what it is exactly you're seeing. Okay, and so that everything kind of, ties up, cohesively, at least from a messaging perspective. Because right now, up until now, we've had, when she was still employed with the company, Ann Sarnoff would say something, it would contradict what Walter Hamada was saying. That would contradict what Toby Emmerich was saying, and three people are saying different things about the DC universe, and fans are like, "What? Huh? Who? What? Who's in charge? What's going on?" So I think it's more about the messaging than some guy's gonna come in there and reshape the entire thing and cancel projects and greenlight other things. I don't think it's that. I think it's more of a messaging, at least from the article that I read, or reading the article, that's the takeaway I get. But people read a Kevin Feige type, and they assume, so DC is going to be exactly like Marvel Studios now. No, that's not what they mean. No. So there's that. The other part of the article was that, and this is key to Superman, is that Warner Brothers Discovery feel that Superman is an important IP, and they feel that up until now he's been left kind of languishing, and they want to change that.
Well, it's been 9 years since his
But
solo movie.
now, I will say though, there is sentiment that I see at least once a week from not just one segment of fandom, Superman fans in general. Not everybody, but there's this, a certain and again, this is not me criticizing the Snyder cultists for once. This is a general Superman perspective from fans, different variations of fans of Superman that have this theory that, well, Warner Brothers hates Superman, and they make it seem like they've done nothing with him. So I just want to quickly dispel. Personally, my opinion, I think that narrative, if you're running around saying WB hates Superman and they've done nothing with him, I think you're full of crap. Because let's just count following Superman 4, which was 1987. Since then, the character has had Superman Returns, Man of Steel, Batman vs. Superman, Justice League Theatrical, and Zack Snyder's Justice League. That's 5 film appearances. Okay? Then there's also Superboy, the TV series, Smallville, Lois and Clark, Superman and Lois. So that's 4 TV series, correct?
Right.
Live
And
action.
Supergirl.
5, because she's part of that world, sure.
Right.
So 5. And then Superman the Animated Series, Justice League,
Justice League Action.
Justice League Action, Legion of Superheroes, Crypto the Superdog. That's the ones I can remember. That's 5 animated series. So this notion that, Warner Brothers hates Superman, and they don't know what they're doing with him, I think it's BS. Now, if you're a film snob and the only Superman you partake in is film, that's your problem.
Yeah.
Sorry. Because Warner Brothers has many facets in the media sphere, and of all those things I mentioned, Superman has been in a lot of them. So you can't say they hate Superman and they don't know what to do with him, and they've done nothing with him. I think that's BS.
And let me just say quickly, I would have liked a couple more Superman solo films too.
Of course.
We don't know why these things happen. I think a lot of fans want to act like they know exactly what happened behind the scenes. There could be numerous contributing factors.
And let's also remember that, unless you're Sony, that the only superhero IP they have is Spider-Man, and they need to crank out 45 Spider-Man adjacent, characters. And look, I have not seen Morbius, so I'm not going to comment on the quality. But judging by the numbers, the audience did not react to that positively. I knew that was going to happen because, I'm sorry, Morbius is not Venom. Venom has a fan base almost equal to Spider-Man, I would say.
Oh yeah, Venom has a huge fan base.
Morbius does not. I feel that they're going to run into the same problem with Craven, the Craven film. They're going to run into the same problem with Madam Web. Now, they'll probably cast a bunch of my multiverse wives, so I'll go see it. But
well, I like Morbius. I'm going to see Morbius. So
I'll check it out when it comes to, what's it called? VOD. But yeah. But what my point is, Sony has to crank out 45 Spider-Man adjacent movies because that's the only character they have.
Yeah.
DC has the entirety of their pantheon. Warner Brothers has the entirety of the DC pantheon. And on top of that, Warner Brothers is not a superhero-only studio. They make other films. So this notion that, every other year they should crank out a Superman movie. I'd love that. But is that realistic? No. So this notion of, I just want to dispel this, Warner Brothers hates Superman and they've done nothing with him and they don't know what to do with him. I call that BS, personally. And that's just my rant because I've seen it. Literally, I see a tweet about it once a week, and I think it's ridiculous. And again, this is not just a sentiment from the Snyder cultists; it's from a variety of Superman fans. So I think it's BS. And what I like more of Superman always is what some people want feasible. Not really, but there is movement.
I'm gonna let me agree with your premise. I think there's been plenty of Superman content. There could have been more in certain directions.
Yeah. Sure.
And maybe that's what they're, bringing in this individual for, is to make sure that they exploit certain avenues that have been left to, that have not been explored at this point.
And look, Superman will return on the big screen. We know that. We've just been told that, that's a priority. There is a script in place. It may be with a returning actor. It may be with a brand new actor, but that's it regardless. We're going to get more Superman. And all we can do this time around for the benefit of the fan, for the character and the IP, because I think that's what they've struggled with with their last few new attempts, including Superman Returns, not just the Snyder stuff, is all we can hope for is a 4-quadrant film that pleases everybody. That's what the character needs, in my opinion. That's what it's lacked the last few outings. And that's the end of my rant.
There you go.
A Superman that is successful is, of course, Superman and Lois. Recently renewed, as I think we discussed, or maybe we didn't, renewed for a 3rd season.
Yes.
And we are playing catch up with our reviews. So, Donnie, where did we leave off and what's happened?
Okay, let me pull my stuff up here. And we have episode 5, Girls, You'll Be a Woman Soon.
Good advice. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I, don't know if I could give it myself, but yeah.
Well, you have two daughters, right?
Right. Yeah. Eventually they get there, and you're like,
you can tell them that you can't relate to their experience, but you can.
Right. Yeah. One minute they're kids, and the next minute they're adults. It's
it's telling you off.
Yeah. It's it's amazing.
One minute it's like, Daddy, can I have lunch? And then the next minute, Daddy, go, you know where.
Yeah, exactly. We can't say it, or it wouldn't be a PG-13 podcast. Right. Yeah. So, all right. So, Girl, You'll Be a Woman Soon. Again, this is the 20th episode, the 5th of this season. So, Lois is still wondering about the nature of the cult and wondering if they're connected to this mystery figure. She learns that Faulkner is a member and visits her only to find that the figure has killed her brutally, by the way.
Yeah.
And is now tracking Allie. That was pretty shocking. That image, I don't know if I've seen a more brutal death, at least on the Arrowverse CW film.
Yeah, I agree with that. That
was, wow.
It certainly makes Bizarro very formidable, very intimidating.
Yeah. Well, and we'll talk about that a little bit more, but I mean, this is the Bizarro that has been seen out of print is not the Bizarro we're used to, that we're seeing here. The one that we're used to seeing is, kind of the, buffoon. Yeah. The kind of buffoonish Bizarro who's powerful, but not particularly smart or lethal. This seems to be a different version. So Chrissy visits Allie, who forces a pendant onto her, allowing her to meet a Bizarro version of herself in another world.
Yeah, and we don't see that, but she relays that experience.
So Superman defends Allie from this mystery. Again, at this point, we don't know the figure's name at this point. This mystery being who identifies his other self. Superman is able to defeat him and brings him to Lara. Meanwhile, we see that Sam lets Jonathan come along to see Jordan's training, but Jonathan takes a substance and begins to act aggressively. So that's another thing that we're seeing play out now, is the whole drug use storyline.
Yeah. I will say that fight was pretty cool between Superman and Bizarro.
I'm amazed, continually amazed
Yeah.
at what the Arrowverse does on their budget.
Yeah. Especially this show, particularly because there's more visual effects involved. Like, we not just as a whole, but even with the one character, the main character. Like, and to consistently look that good. And I know they have a little bit more than every other Arrowverse show, but it's not much. Like they're working on, I think I read somewhere, I think it was like 6 million an episode.
Mm-hmm.
And like this looks movie quality to me.
Yeah, and I was going to say, compare that to a $250 million movie.
Yeah.
You know, the difference is razor thin. They are doing just an outstanding job.
Yeah. And I did like that we saw Lara. Like he brings her to Lara, which I think is cool because in so many Superman adaptations, you know, the character that Warner Brothers is doing nothing with apparently, we've the focus is largely on, in terms of his Kryptonian parentage, the focus is largely on his father, Jor-El. So I like that they brought in holographic Lara, and they're giving her some time to shine in this iteration.
So now the scene pivots to Sarah's quinceañera, and Kyle learns from Tanya, the bartender with whom he was once having an affair, that her girlfriend threatened to leak the affair to Dean. Sarah is actually in close proximity, and she overhears this and tells Lana in front of Kyle. So Chrissy tells Lois that Allie's other self has been taken to this other world, and Jonathan is starting to display powers because of the drug that he's taking. And he passes them off as like his own manifesting powers to Jordan. At this point, he's not letting Jordan know what he's doing.
Right.
Now, at Talrose Fortress, Clark's other self tells him that Allie will destroy everything he loves unless he kills her. So there is a lot of storylines going on. This is not a show that moves at a slow pace.
Yeah, no, there's a lot happening. I'd like to say I was kind of shocked that they went that route with Kyle, because they finally built him up to be, you know, a stand-up guy, and as an audience member, you start liking him, and then they do this, and you kind of but in future episodes, as we'll see, I think they've handled it well, to the point, you know, of they don't make you hate Kyle. Like, you kind of understand, hey, this guy makes mistakes. He's trying to be better.
Yes. Well, you know, you look at that as, you know, he's a flawed character.
Yeah.
And, you know, perfect characters aren't interesting. It's you know, the mistakes they make and their growth. That's what's interesting.
Yeah. And like, just to see how learning about, you know, I guess we can call it the Bizarro world now officially, and how much sway Ali has there and how powerful she is quite interesting. Because if you think about it, like, physically she's no threat, but she's a threat in other ways because of all the power she has, just by knowing what she's done in the Bizarro world, right? So that is an interesting dynamic. It's like when you give somebody without powers and make them a threat to Superman, that's really impressive. Because, and again, it's different from Lex, because Lex can always put on a power suit, right? To my knowledge, Ali doesn't have that at her disposal. So, you know, it'd be interesting to see more, and we're going to in future episodes, on the other side, you know, the Bizarro world, to see why everybody's so, like, what makes her over there so intimidating that, you know, that she's now a threat on multiple, you know, on both worlds.
That's a good point.
I'd like to see that shown in future episodes. But I like how threatening, because when they first kind of introduced her as a big villain, I thought, well, you know, this is clearly going to be just a Lois plotline, and Superman won't really get involved. It's going to be more about her sister.
Mm-hmm.
But clearly, this affects Superman as well on a larger scale. And I like how the writers have weaved that in. It initially started as a Lois subplot, but quickly, you know, intersected with Superman's story.
That's what's been attractive to this show, about this show to me, is that they didn't go the usual route that we see live action Superman projects go, like immediately to Zod or immediately to Lex or even immediately to Doomsday. We're seeing unfamiliar characters, and we're seeing them handled in new and unique ways.
Yeah.
So that's why I like this show so much. This is a very fresh take on Superman.
Such a good show.
Yeah. So episode number 6.
Are we gonna rate it, or
well? How do you want? You know, it's your show. You're the host. I'm just a star.
I see what you did there. You're angling. You're angling for a Vince McMahon type of conversation. You know what? Since they're each separate episodes, let's rate them separately. So, what would you give this episode?
Out of 5, I'd say a 4.
No.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll give it a 4 as well. Solid 4. Nothing really wrong with it. Just you progress the plot a little bit further. We got a lot of info on well, not a lot, but more info on Ali.
Mm-hmm.
We got some badass action with Superman versus Bizarro, and Jonathan's getting into some trouble.
Yeah. So I will say, I like that too. I like that when they do have the high school stuff, it's not just relationships and I'm 100%. Struggling with my schoolwork.
Yeah.
It's not the usual fallback stuff.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Okay, so episode 6, Tried and True. So we see that Anderson is berated by General Hardcastle for his deteriorating partnership with Superman. Kyle tries to apologize to Lana, but she turns him away. Lana learns from Tanya that Kyle broke off the relationship 2 years earlier, shortly after Sarah's accident. So again, it's like what you're talking about. We're seeing that he's made some progression since then in owning this mistake, but it's just now coming to light, and that's why it's such a hardship all of a sudden with the family, because they didn't know about it. So they're trying to deal with that now.
You got to give him props for, look, he put his family above his urges, if you will. And again, I think I am of the, just like what we've seen of Kyle, over the first season and a bit here. I venture to say that 99% of the problem and his infidelity starts from his drinking abuse, right? So, but he had the wherewithal to say, look, my family is going through some stuff, the Sarah issues, and he broke it off because his family was more important. So there is, like, if you saw this cheating storyline and started to kind of resent Kyle as a viewer, as a fan, this revelation kind of pulls you back and say, wow, he did put his family first by ending the relationship when he needed to be in that mode and really come through for his daughter. So
well, like I said, there the recovery from the situation is running on 2 different tracks, because obviously he was trying to fill some void in his life, both with the adultery storyline and with the drinking. Now he started to make his own recovery on this, but now they have to recover as a family.
Yeah, absolutely.
Since that's come to light in such an just like an impromptu way, that's why we're seeing the drama at this point.
Yeah.
So later on in the episode, Jordan catches Jonathan with an inhaler. This is what he's using to take the drug,
Yeah.
but he tries to say that it belongs to Candace. So Sam brings Lucy to talk to Lois.
So blame your girlfriend, but don't turn her in. I don't.
Right, exactly. A lot of questionable decisions made there. So he forbids them from discussing Allie, and they try to once again restore their bond as sisters. At a football game that night, Jonathan is put into Timmy's position, and Jordan overhears that it's because Timmy was caught with the same type of inhaler that Jonathan is using with the drug. So Jordan realizes that Jonathan has been using X-Kryptonite and confronts him. Lucy argues with Lois over Allie, and she leaves the game. Lana tells Kyle that do you have any thoughts here before I move on to this last little bit?
Well, I just that it was kind of nice for a second seeing the two sisters get along.
It doesn't seem to be permanent, though.
And the whole thing like that. And then it just devolves back into the same argument. What I will point out, and I don't know if I pointed this out as of yet on this show, but Jenna Dewan, who plays Lucy, on the list. You know what's coming, Donnie. Come on.
I was going to say, our
podcast. Everyone knows already that Bitsy Tolik is on the list, so I don't have to do it. You know that. I've said that.
All of our podcasts go two ways.
You mentioned Green Lantern?
Yeah. How long can I hold out mentioning Green Lantern, and how long can you hold out mentioning the Multiverse Wives list?
Yeah, exactly. And I win because I went 31 minutes and 35 seconds. So.
That's right.
What do I get, folks? What's my prize?
First round playoff win for the Leafs. There you
let's hope. I'll take that if that happens, please.
So Lana tells Kyle that he has to move out, that things may be, irreparably damaged, and Anderson goes and arrests Superman for treason, for withholding information. And at this point, Superman is put in with the Red Sunlight prison with Tal-Rho, and that's how this episode ends.
Yeah, some brotherly bonding. That's gonna that'll be fun. I mean, I'm still kind of like unsure of, is that really treason?
No, I think he was just looking for an excuse.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like, I don't think that's actually an offense.
No, I think, yeah.
But it's not something that anybody could challenge, because it's like everything they're doing is kind of sort of on the down low, nefarious kind of dealings. So it's like, who's gonna be like, let's bring this up in court.
And that's why Anderson was so clandestine with the way that he handled things. He just kind of took Superman prisoner and put him in with Tal-Rho. And there wasn't any kind of big trial or anything like that.
And we don't need to see Superman in court again, because the last time we saw Superman in a courtroom, there was a jar of pee involved, and I'd rather not go there again.
Rennie's peach tea. To this day, I cannot look at peach tea and not think about it.
That is one of the stupidest things in that movie. In a Batman Superman movie, Lex Luthor apparently has a pee fetish. That's great. Anyway, carry on.
Well, that's the end of the episode, so we should rate the episode.
Another 4. Solid episode. I really liked the Lois and Lucy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And sort of Jordan confronting Jonathan about the inhaler and the drug. And again, it shows that these brothers often argue, as brothers do. John, there is a little bit of, on some level, there's got to be some jealousy on Jonathan's part that, hey, look at my brother's got the powers. He became a football star. He basically superseded my place in football, right? So there's got to be jealousy. So you can understand why Jonathan would resort to this. Although to me, it seems like he's more doing it because, hey, listen, well, the protecting the girlfriend has nothing to do with his brother. That's just hey, he thinks she's hot and he wants to have more kissy time with her. And the only way to do that is to keep quiet about her being the dealer. So, look, I get it. If one of my multiverse wives was hoarding drugs, I don't think I would condone that. I would step in and. But that's my other multiverse self's problem. Him deal with it. I ain't getting involved.
Right.
If he goes to jail, I'll just take his place. Hello. No, yeah. So I mean, his position is understandable. I think, like why he resorted to taking the kryptonite drug.
Yeah, obviously,
the motivation. Yeah.
Right. Most people are going to look at that and say, hey, yeah, it's still stupid to use drugs, especially something as powerful as XK. Yeah. But you understand from a motivational standpoint, from the way the writers are setting this up, why it's happening.
He's half Kryptonian, so you don't know how that's going to affect him, right?
Yes, exactly.
It's like, should you really be doing that with that substance?
I'm going to say 4.5 for that episode because of the twist at the end. I did not see that coming.
Oh, with the okay, fair enough. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, so episode 7, Anti-Hero. Jonathan is caught with Candace's ex-kryptonite and Lois finds out.
Oh, boy.
Lana says that she should listen to Jonathan regardless of his explanation. Sarah vents to Aubrey and she advises her to go talk to Kyle. Meanwhile, Superman wakes up in prison and realizes, again, he's under red sunlight. He can't just break out. And begs Anderson to go investigate Allie. So what are your thoughts on the first part of this episode?
What I will say about, Sarah venting to the girl that she kissed. I like how they handled that because it was never a case of, all right, I'm struggling. My life is crap right now. Let's get back into an ill-conceived, entanglement. To use to coin a phrase from Jada Pinkett Smith, please, Will Smith, don't slap me. But I know I'm a couple weeks late on that, but that was my chance to work it in.
At some point, you've got to go up to somebody and say, "Keep my multiverse wives' names
out
of your mouth."
I already told Nico and Nick Caruso and Nick Zednick if they ever speak about one of my multiverse wives, I may have to pull a Will Smith on them. So they've been put on notice. But
well, that's how I feel when somebody smack talks the Venom movie. I'm like,
that's right. You just if you do that, videotape it. I wouldn't watch it. That's funny. But no. I like that they didn't devolve and go, start an affair or whatever. She didn't go back into her and that whole thing, because that's typical of a CW drama. That's what they normally would do. But this show continues to buck that trend and not revert to those things. So I like that.
Well, they haven't like really written that as something that it was more curiosity on her part. It wasn't something that, she's going down this like drastic new, road of self-identity. So I think it's been handled properly.
I had for a couple of weeks, after she said that she kissed a girl and she liked it, I had that song by Katy Perry in my head. So it worked. The other thing that you mentioned about Superman sort of trying to plead with Anderson to go investigate Allie. Man, the writers are doing a great job of making Anderson a real jerk. Oh
yes,
I sympathize with Kyle. I can't stand Anderson. So
well, that leads into what I have to say next. We see that Anderson starts to torture Tal-Rho to coerce Superman into giving him information.
Yeah.
So Superman and Tal-Rho, they fake a fight in order to break out of the prison.
That was cool.
Yeah, that really was cool. Yeah. So they flee to Tal-Rho's fortress, where Superman, his other self, states that he and Tal-Rho were inseparable until his Tal-Rho's wife tried to kill him.
So
we're getting backstory on that now.
Man, that's a mean sister-in-law.
Yeah, exactly.
And who is this sister-in-law? That's what I want to know.
Well, we're getting a lot of answers now, especially
one of my multiverse wives. I'm curious.
Well, I would caution you to be careful if that
Is there a bizarro world where I have multiple wives too? Because how many wives is that? That's
oh, see, there you go. Now you're talking about the bizarro worlds and the negative worlds like the Guardian worlds, that kind of stuff. Yeah. So
what a headache.
Exactly. We're gonna have to do a series of episodes just to keep them all straight.
If there's a crisis, I'm in trouble.
Right. Wouldn't it be awful if it ends up just being you and all of the multiverse wives, just one version of you, like trying to deal with all of them?
I'm gonna go into hiding.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, wait a minute. Depending on what we're talking about, if it's them arguing, then I'm out. But if it's if it's moving into the Playboy Mansion, I'm all for it. Let's go. It's all depends on the scenario, really.
Okay, so let's get back
to the actual episode.
So Anderson steals some ex-kryptonite and Project 7734 weapons and locates Tal-Rho's fortress.
Right.
He's able to injure Kal-Rho and seemingly Superman's duplicate.
Yeah.
So Superman brings Tal-Rho near the sun, allowing him to recuperate before he takes him back to prison. I thought that was a very good. That was a very Superman-like move.
Yeah, I definitely like the fact that look, there's animosity still there. Like they certainly don't agree with each other's methods.
Right.
But there is a respect, and I think on both sides there is somewhere deep down a love there. More on you can see it more on Superman's side, but I think it also comes through for Tal-Rho as well.
Well, and Superman's not going to let anyone die if he doesn't have to. I mean, that's just his personality.
Yeah. Right, yeah.
So Clark returns home. Sarah finds...
Speaking of dying,
go ahead.
Bizarro, seemingly.
Yes.
Seemingly, I was shocked by that. I didn't expect him to kill Bizarro.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I wonder if that's really the case, if we're going to see...
Oh, you think he might be...
Yeah, I don't know. With when it comes to comic book properties, you never know.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So Clark returns home. Sarah locates Kyle, and Dean tries to use Kyle's affair to his advantage. But Lana is able to convince his supporters to ignore it.
Yeah.
So now there's a warrant out for Anderson's arrest. He visits Allie with the inverse pendant from that other world. So again, a lot of stuff going on here, a lot of very complicated storylines. And again, that's why I like this, is that this show moves at a quick pace, a lot of good, interesting stuff happening. And I've had a blast with this so far.
I gotta say, when it all started to shake out, I didn't know if I was gonna like the subplot about Lana running for mayor.
Mm-hmm.
But it really makes me like her character even more, because when she goes into the coffee shop and it tells the supporters of Dean, whatever the hell his name is there,
yeah,
that don't trust him. Look, if he's willing to use my family trauma or struggles against me, a citizen of Smallville, how can you believe he's going to have your best interests at heart? And so I like that. It shows look, Lana's having her moments where she's struggling with, had her big moments, the cry fest when she's, her and Kyle, she found out about Kyle, they split up, and she had her moment. But the way she's rebounded and carried herself as a strong, independent, being able to be a mother and a politician at the same time, I really like the strength of character of this iteration of Lana, which is vastly different than the majority of Smallville, the show's Lana, who I liked for a season or two, and then she became a whiny complainer and a hypocrite. So kudos to Emmanuel Strictly and the writers and the portrayal of Lana. And in case I haven't mentioned it, Donnie, Emmanuel Strictly, who plays Lana Lang on this, Lois, is on the list.
So I also like the way she rebounded. I'll say that. I like the way she rebounded. I like the way she blocked shots, and I like the way she hits the outlet pass. So
yeah, and I really like this. I really like the fight with Anderson and Tyrone and Bizarro. That was great.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this episode for me gets a 5.
Yeah. Again, I'm going to give it another 4.5. I've liked. There hasn't been a bad episode this season yet. There hasn't been a bad episode of the series yet. So
absolutely, yeah.
As long as they can keep the magic going, more power to them.
Yeah. Agreed.
So that brings us to the end of this episode.
We do have a few more episodes we still have to cover, right? But we'll do that to be fully caught up. Correct? Am I correct?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So we'll do those. We'll do those another time because I'm pretty sure it's on a break right now. It comes back the 26th of April, but I'm pretty sure, considering that it ends in June, there's probably going to be another break in between. Is my guess. But we'll reconvene in another few weeks and do another batch of 3, and we'll continue to keep you up to date with our thoughts on Superman and Lois season 2. But we hope you're enjoying the season. If you haven't, for whatever reason, watched the show yet because you think, well, it's a CW show and I don't like the CW and blah blah blah. Look. If you're sitting online and you're complaining about Superman content and not watching this show, and you haven't given this show a chance because it's on the CW, I implore you to give this show a chance because I think it's great. And so that's my recommendation. So if you do give it a chance, or if you love the show already, and you want to talk about the show with us on social media, you can. Donnie, where do they track you down?
You can find me on Twitter as the Emerald Enthusiast. Let's talk comics. Let's talk collectibles. Let's talk Superman and Lois. Let's talk Green Lantern.
You can find me at Adam_LeafFan on Twitter. You can also track us down on Facebook. There is a link to the group in the description below here somewhere. Click the link. I'll add you, and we can continue the conversation there. But until next time. Remember that Superman and Lois is forever. From the first time he battles Bizarro to the last. So long, everybody.
So long, everyone.